Hello and welcome to a sports episode of Historically Marked. I am in Kansas City, Missouri, not too far from the 18th and Vine district, but right behind me in this empty lot was where a huge major sports stadium once stood. I kid you not. It was called the Municipal Stadium. It lasted for 53 years, and there are plenty of historical markers that tell all about it. Come with me. All right, so at the corner of Brooklyn and 22nd Street is a Monarch butterfly garden. Yeah, please don't step here. Plus there are plenty of historic signs I'm going to show you. So today is called Monarch Plaza, historic site of Municipal Stadium. And as you can see, I mean, they've totally rebuilt this area. They got some brand new homes popping up. The name of the subdivision, I believe, is Monarch, gosh, I can't think of the name of it, but I'll have it to you on the bottom of the screen. And then I'm going to visit the plaza. But yes, we're looking at a site where major sports franchises of Kansas City played here, as well as some concerts, including, yes, the Fab Four, the Beatles. So I'm going to look at this historical marker here. All right, so it wasn't always called the Municipal Stadium. At first it was called, I hope I'm saying this right, please forgive me if I'm not, the Muehlebach Field from 1923 to 37, the Rupert Stadium from 1937 to 43, the Blues Stadium from 43 to 54, and then from 1955 to its demise, the Municipal Stadium. You are standing on the former site of Municipal Stadium. All right, so it was named after George E. Muehlebach, who was a Kansas City business owner. Built in 1923 to serve as the home of the minor league Kansas City Blues and the Negro League Kansas City Monarchs. Over the course of the Municipal Stadium's 49-year history, it served as the home of 7 different franchises. The the Blues and Monarchs, the NFL's Kansas City Blues / Cowboys from 1924 to 26. Oh, wow. MLB's Kansas City Athletics, and the NFL's Kansas City Chiefs, 1963 to 71, and then the Kansas City Spurs, NASL, and then finally the Kansas City Royals, which were new at the time, 1969 to 72. Now, this was originally a one-level stadium. A renovation of the stadium added a second deck in 1955 that expanded the capacity to 30,000 in preparation for Major League Baseball games with the arrival of the Kansas City Athletics, who were relocating from Philadelphia. And here's just an idea of what it looked like. It is very difficult to imagine that, yeah, something like that once stood here. And you also got to take yourself back in time because, you know, a lot of these homes were not here, some were here. Like, some look newer than others. I imagine that one's been around for quite a while, so imagine just having just walking to the sports game. Now, there's some more history on the back of this marker. Now, Municipal Stadium played host to some of the most famous games and players in sports history. Christmas Day 1971, the Kansas City Chiefs and Miami Dolphins played in the AFC divisional playoff game that would last deep into the second overtime period. Dolphins place kicker Garo Premian, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right, made a 37-yard field goal to give Miami a 27-24 win after 82 minutes and 40 seconds of play, concluding the longest game in NFL history. Wow, that is very trivial. 1939, the New York Yankees made a stop in Kansas City for an exhibition against their top farm team, the Blues. A record crowd of 23,684 were on hand to watch Lou Gehrig in what would be his final game in a Yankee uniform. He retired less than 10 days later after being diagnosed with ALS. Man, that is such a sad moment. And I do remember seeing a picture of that. If there's a picture in public domain, I'll definitely post it. 1924, the stadium was the home of the first ever Negro League World Series game, in which the Monarchs beat the Hilldale Club based out of Philadelphia. 20 years later, Municipal Stadium was also the home of Jackie Robinson's Negro League career until he broke baseball's color barrier in 1947. Over the course of its history, the Municipal Stadium would play host to 4 Negro League World Series, the 1960 MLB All-Star Game, 1 NFL playoff game, and was a stop of the Beatles' first U.S. tour before its demolition in 1976. So unreal. Okay, so these are all a lot of Kansas City's prominent ball players, and we're talking both baseball and football, National and Negro Leagues. So, starting with Amos Otis. By the way, if you ever want to push pause, just go ahead and do that. This is John Mayberry, who played for the Royals, the Yankees, and the Astros, as well as the Blue Jays. Played for the Chiefs from 1963 to 74 is Bobby Bell. Willie Lanier, who played with the Chiefs from 1967 to 1977. And then we're going to go on to Jackie Robinson, born in Cairo, Georgia. Grew up in Pasadena, California. Was an outstanding four-sport college or high school and collegiate athlete. And then I'm sure a lot of you probably know the story about, you know, how he broke baseball's color barrier. And all right, so his solid play during the grueling Negro League season caught the eye of scouts from the Brooklyn Dodgers in Major League Baseball. Dodgers general manager Branch Rickey had decided a few years before to find the right player to break baseball's long-standing color barrier. Robinson became the choice over more famous black baseball stars and was signed to a minor league contract at the end of the 1945 season. He triumphantly took the field with the Brooklyn Dodgers on April 15th, 1947, a moment in time that would change America's national pastime in America too. And this is Otis Taylor, who played for the Chiefs as well. This is John Wyatt, who played in the Negro Leagues as well as Major League Baseball. He played for the Indianapolis Clowns, but then he later became a star for the Kansas City Athletics before moving on to playing the 4 more teams. This guy, John Jordan, also known as Buck O'Neill, he was very instrumental in creating the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum here in Kansas City. He played for the Monarchs from 1938 to 1943, as well as from 1946 to 1955. And lastly, Leroy Robert Satchel Paige, arguably one of the most famous Negro League baseball players. Of course, he also played Major League Baseball with Kansas City, the St. Louis Browns, and the Cleveland Indians. And this here is just a timeline of stuff that I already mentioned. But I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give you a little rundown. So the KC Monarchs won the Negro Leagues World Series here. Ballpark was named Jacob Rupert, honoring the Yankees owner. Lou Gehrig played his last game in a Yankees uniform here. Blue Stadium. Dallas, Texas football team brought here as Kansas City Chiefs. 1964, the Beatles played in concert. The Chiefs played the Dolphins in the longest history on the site. 1971, Royals moved to new Truman Sports Complex, and then until finally it was torn down. Now this, I believe, was the entrance. I'm sure it has to be, you know. Yeah, that's where the press people were. That's where all the fans lined up, and people bought tickets. And this is all the sports franchises that played here: the Kansas City Blues, Monarchs, and I'm sure you probably know this, but yes, the Oakland Athletics are now what they're called. And one last look at what the stadium once was. Wow. So unreal. But, you know, places change. Or at least so I'm told. Alright, thanks so much for tuning in to this special sports episode. I am Jason in Kansas City, Missouri, on the former site of Municipal Stadium. Alright, Jason signing off.